Welcome to the Boxing Talk Show.
Fair but firm.
With the Hall of Fame boxing referee.
I'm Joe Cortez.
And co-host John Zamel in English and Spanish for all of Las Vegas.
Come on, guys. Let's touch them up. Clean fight. I'm Joe Cortez. Fair but firm.
Well, welcome to the Fair but Firm show here with Joe Cortez and John Zimmer. Wow, we were just showing you the credentials for the fight this past Saturday night at the T-Mobile Arena. What a fight. The fans got what they wanted. They got another great fight. And the scoring of the judges was pretty much intact. I mean, you had some controversy as far as who won the fight at the end. But you know what? I think overall, I mean, talking with Abel Sanchez and Tom Loeffler after the fight, I didn't hear no gripes about it at all. You know, they were just, okay. I think they were okay with it. If they would have been dissatisfied with the decision, like some of the fans, they would have been huffing and puffing. And they were not. They were just talking about, what do we do next? They don't know. But they were very gentlemanlike. And I think, John, that this fight was what the fight fans expected.
This is one of the greatest things. I mean, look, this was it, man. Last fight was the fight of the year. We called it on our Fair but Firm Awards, and this one was even better. I mean, by a lot better. The judging was better. The reffing, by the way, shout out to Benji Estevez, and nothing against the reffing in the last fight, but Benji Estevez was excellent in there. Good friend of the show. This was an incredible fight. I mean, well-rounded all the way around. Great blows traded from both sides. I mean, just this is one that we'll remember, man. This is one that we'll remember.
Yeah, I think that Canelo Alvarez fought. I said he had to be aggressive this time. He was to be backing up. The guy that backs up in the eyes of the judges. If you're backing up, even though you're throwing some punches, good defense, but you're up against the road taking punches when the bell rings, the judges are going to give it to the guy who's the aggressor. And this time it was his cornerman said, his trainer also said, we're going to be putting the pressure on Triple G, and that's just what they did. Pressure, good defense, good counter punches, good body punches. I mean, after the 6th round or so, 5th round, you see Triple G going back to the corner. He was huffing.
He looked old,
he was like
tired,
that.
man.
And I said, wow. I said, did he over peak or did he get old overnight like I said before?
We talk about all the time, yeah.
I said during the whole last couple of months, I said in boxing, you get old overnight. And I'll tell you, I think that's what happened with Triple G Saturday
then he
night.
got young overnight. I mean, what going into the 9th, 10th, and 11th, he got it back.
He got a second win in the back. He came back. They told him to the corner, you got to do something.
Yeah,
if you want to win this fight.
Abel told him you're losing.
Yeah, he said, you got to do something. If not, you're not going to get this fight. He tried his best, but
he wobbled him a couple times, to be fair.
He did. I mean, it was a couple of shots there.
Yeah.
They were not noticeable that he was really wobbled, but if you know boxing, you can see.
Oh, you can see it. Canelo took a couple of shots.
Yeah.
I got to give, all the attention has been on Triple G's chin throughout this entire matchup for 2 years now. Canelo has got a hell of a chin too, and he took some tough shots from a hard-hitting middleweight over and over and over again. And not to give me, don't get me wrong, like the biggest punches for the most part came from Canelo, but I think the single biggest punch and the biggest combos came from Triple G, and Canelo ate him. He ate him every one of them, man.
Yeah, he did. It was an interesting fight. I mean, the fans really were in that arena. It was unbelievable. It
had to be.
They had a couple of about 200 short of 22,000 fans. 100 of 2,000 fans, 22,000 fans.
Really?
Yeah, it was 21,950 some.
In an 18,000 person arena.
Well,
that's packed.
Well, because they.
Oh, I know how they do. Yeah.
Like I was there last night for the Golden Knights game against the Arizona Coyotes. And
Shout out to the Golden Knights too, as we always do on this show.
Yeah. Golden Knights did a good. They've been a good.
7-3 they won.
Yeah, 7-2.
7-2. Sorry, I was trying to give.
Yeah, so it was interesting, and I just felt that being there the second night, I had Benji Estevez with me at the Golden Knights game last night.
That's so fun.
So he's been in a hockey game before, but his wife for the first time.
Oh, how cool!
Yeah, they loved it very much.
I gotta say. People ask me what I thought of the fight afterwards.
Right.
Personally, first time I watched it, I scored it 7-5 Triple G.
Right.
Second time I watched it, I scored it a draw. Either way, I mean, I was pretty much in line with pretty close to what the judges saw.
Right.
However, despite the fact that I scored it differently than the way the judges saw it, I have to take every hat that I own off to Canelo Alvarez. This is a guy who has been baited, who's been called every name in the book, a guy who I was not a personal fan of, despite my, trying to stay unbiased in this. I was rooting for Triple G. I wanted Triple G to prove his worth as an all-time middleweight. I didn't want his career to go down as a failure, and it didn't. He came away looking great, and so did Canelo. They will be defined by these fights with each other, and they should be. These were great fights, and like I said, I mean, win, lose, or draw, I thought that Golovkin did enough to pull it out, but Canelo was the aggressor. Despite being a career counterpuncher, he was an absolute monster in there. And he went toe-to-toe with the best brawler of his not just generation, but of his weight class, and he stood toe-to-toe with him in the middle of the ring, didn't back down, and won most of those exchanges. I give everything that I can to Canelo Alvarez because you know what? You deserve it, buddy. Honestly, way to go. Way to prove me wrong, and I mean, way to cap off an excellent night of fighting, by the way. I mean, just an excellent night of fighting. We were calling it the card of the year. I think it was the best setup card in the last 10 years easily, and I mean, if we go through them, I mean, look, we start off, Chocolatito Gonzalez, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, the Nicaraguan nightmare. He came out and showed that he still got a spark of the old flash, as my friend Joe Cortez likes to say. And on top of that, we had the big lead up with Spike O'Sullivan and David Lemieux. These two have been talking nonstop. We were excited to see it, and David Lemieux showed that despite how he looked against Billy Joe Saunders, who he took the distance, by the way. It's not like he just got slapped around, which I've said in the past that he did get slapped around. He, you know, he did. He put up and he put him down and won. And then Jaime Munguia, star is born. We see this right now. He is, I mean, he came out, showed that he was something against, originally against Saddam Ali. He was just supposed to be a check mark on Saddam Ali's resume. He wasn't that. Then got put in another test against Liam Smith. This was his showcase against a no-name. And, I mean, tell me what you saw in that fight.
Yeah, I thought, you know, Munguia was really aggressive. He came out right from the first bell throwing punches. And I go back a couple of months back, maybe 6 months ago, when he was rejected for Cinco de Mayo to fight Triple G. The Nevada State Athletic Commission said no.
The best thing that could ever happen to him.
He doesn't have the credentials to his resume. Had nobody on there, any name.
He'd only fought in Mexico.
Any named fighters. So what happened was Bob Bennett and Nevada State Athletic Commission and the commission said no, we can't have him as a replacement for Canelo Alvarez to fight Triple G. So Triple G went and fought in Florida. I'll take it back in L.A. and knocked out
Vanes Martirosyan.
Yeah, Martirosyan in 2 rounds, 3 rounds, whatever it was, 2 rounds. And Munguia was given a shot to fight
Saddam Ali.
Saddam Ali, like you just mentioned a few minutes ago. So the Nevada State Athletic Commission did him a favor. Had he fought Triple G, he probably would end up getting hurt. He would have probably never been the same again.
He's a light middleweight.
So now he went and fought up in New York for Saddam Ali. He becomes champion of the world. Now he comes back to Vegas. He fought Liam Smith a couple of months ago, and ended up
still look good.
Looking good, beating him. So now he's not trying to be a household name because the arena when they introduced him, all the fans in the arena were really rooting. I couldn't believe what kind of a fan base he already has.
He's got that Mexican following that Canelo's been rooting for. And you know what? Something else back to Canelo. Canelo, you know, we've had how many Mexican fans that we've had, or people that we've had on the show or talked to us that didn't feel a resonance with Canelo. Yes, he was from there, but they didn't feel he fought that style. He fought that Mexican style on Saturday,
right?
And he gained 1 million fans. He gained a fan here. I'll tell you that much right now. Jaime Munguia, what do you think's next for him? He's got in his division Lara, Hurd, the smaller Charlo. I worry a little bit because of his he lets himself get hit a lot.
Yeah, he's only 21 years of age. And I told him Saturday night, you know, keep yourself going, keep yourself sharp, and learn all you can because you're still young. Yeah,
don't rush your career.
No, he can't. I mean, they didn't want to rush Canelo 4 or 5 years ago to fight Triple G.
And now he was going to go do it at 20.
And rightfully so. He waited because had he fought Triple G back then, he probably would have lost to Triple G. They waited. Oscar De La Hoya did the right thing. His promoters, and
it was a tough decision because they had to drop the WBC belt. Remember?
Yeah. And now, so now he ends up fighting Ali, become champion. And I mean, Canelo, he fought Mayweather, and they said, okay, he made a good paycheck, but he learned a lot. Even though he lost, he learned a lot and made him a better fighter. So we're hoping that they don't make the mistake.
You don't turn down Mayweather money. You could turn down Triple G money if you're working on building a resume. You don't turn down Mayweather money. You take that shot every time you can, especially if you're a kid and you could build a career off it.
They took it at Munguia now has to just take his time. He's 21.
I agree.
Another 3-4 years, they can start putting him with the big boys.
Well, you know, you say that, man, but a star is born. I mean, people are going to be calling out. He's got a belt for a reason.
Yeah.
He's got a name for a reason. People are going to want to see him in there with Jarrett Hurd. They're going to want to see him in there with Jermell Charlo.
I think that the last super star fighter they had from Tijuana was Eric Morales.
It's 100%
and now you got Jaime Munguia from Tijuana.
Tijuana represent, baby.
Yeah. So let's see. You know, he seems like a real nice, humble kid, and he got himself on the right track. thank God he's only 21 years of age. He got so much going for him.
Absolutely. What do you think is next for Canelo and Triple G's careers? Where do they go from here?
Well, I tell you, Triple G will probably end up fighting somebody who's not too much of a household name, because I mean,
he doesn't have the draw. I mean, he's got more than he had.
I mean, he got to test himself again to see if there's something missing. You know, I said it before. He either overtrained or age caught up to him, and I think it's the latter. I think he age caught up to him. I think that some fighters, I mean, yeah, they overtrain. You got to know when it's like a horse. You know, you don't want to let them all out. You let them all go out at the race, not doing the training. And I think doing the training, he might have overpeaked. And when you overpeak, it's like you didn't fight, you didn't train at all.
And also there's a difference between overpeaking at 28 and 36.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're 36, you know, and you overpeak and your age, your legs start going on you, I said it, I said it word for word. If he doesn't move around that ring, if he doesn't have the legs, Canelo can capitalize on that and start connecting more punches, because Triple G is not going to be able to get away. That's just what happened. That's what happens when you get old overnight. They say, how come he fought so different last year, and this year he fought so lousy? Well, not that he fought that bad, but he didn't have the legs. The legs are starting to go on him, and that's what happens to a fighter.
Well, that leads me to my next point, because I think with his age being what it is, and his prime years being what they are at the very end, and him now having no belts, Canelo having all the belts, all the leverage, all the bargaining power, I think this is still the most profitable fight in sports outside of Wilder and Joshua.
Yeah,
and I think, honestly, I think they're going to see it again. I think we're going to see it again in 6 months.
Yeah, probably so. We're trying to get a kid by the name of Romeo Acosta on the show. He should have been here already, and somebody could reach out to him. If he's running late, I need him on the show because I want to get his take on the fight itself.
He told me that Canelo was going to be aggressive and he was going to win the fight. I swear to God.
Yeah.
He told me that Canelo was going to be the brawler and he was going to win, and I was like, Canelo's a counterpuncher, and he was right. And so he came in earlier and told me, I told you so.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm waiting for Romeo to come around, pop his head in here, so we can just talk a little bit about his take. He's a young fighter, up and coming, 17 years old. He's a professional with one fight under his belt, with one KO.
We've had him on the show a few times.
Yeah, we had him on. Show. And somebody got to reach out to him. I need him here right now before we run out of time. But the thing is that Romeo, he was so excited about this fight. He knew that Triple G had to come forward and throw more combinations, and he did just that. And I feel that in our boxing, like I said before, I mean, Saturday night was a win for Las Vegas.
It was a win for boxing. It was
a win for boxing. The fans got, I think everybody's satisfied this time.
Well, you say that. I mean, there is a lot of controversy. There is. I mean, there's a lot of people claiming this, that, or the other thing. I think at the end of the day, rematches favor the younger fighter. Rematches, and it's just, like Kellerman was saying before the fight, there's a certain thing to be said about the more marketable athlete usually getting the decision. That's just the way it is, right, wrong, or otherwise. It's boxing. It's been going on for over 100 years. And when this happens, when you're Triple G and you know this going in, you better either win 8 rounds convincingly, score a knockdown, or knock him out. And he didn't get it done. He knew what he had to get done,
right,
and he didn't do it.
He didn't do it, and like I said before, Abel Sanchez and Tom Loeffler, they were very gentlemanlike. They were really cool, calm. They were not excited after the post-fight interviews for ESPN Deportes. We were together there, and they just said, the referee did a good job. They were not complaining at all.
No.
So if you fans think that Triple G won, I saw a little list of all the media, Showtime, HBO,
and all the fans too, like the average fan scorecard.
Yeah, they all have like Triple G winning.
Or a draw. A lot of draws too.
Oh yeah, a lot of draws. Yeah. And I saw, I was predicted that Triple G would win the fight, but according to my scorecard, I had Canelo, winning the fight. So it's just the way you score it. I was looking at it from a referee and an analyst perspective. I was not trying to get out there and think like a fan. When you think like a fan, you seem to only see your fighter connected.
I agree.
You seem to miss the punches that are coming from the other fighter. So I see that sometimes that the fans are just sometimes they get overwhelmed. And then again, you have the commentators on TV
Yeah, they sway public opinion a lot.
Yeah, they can sway the public a lot. You're
Fully,
right.
yeah. And look, and I happen to love Lampley and Kellerman and Roy Jones, but the biggest knock against them a lot is that they are very biased and they'll sway and when you watch it with the sound on, which you have to do because the shots sound so good, you kind of are swayed by that opinion. It's just the way it is. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's just it's a factor.
Yeah. So anyway, I try to look at it from not a fan's perspective. I try to look at it from a analyst and a boxer. I look at two fighters, A and B. I really didn't care who wins a fight, even though I had predicted that.
Yeah, but you weren't rooting for him. It was just who you thought.
I thought for what he did last year, Triple G, I thought he was going to do the same this year. But I said also along the way that if Triple G gets old overnight and if Canelo starts putting the pressure, it could turn the other way around. But I was still favoring Triple G by a technical knockout. So not that I was saying one thing and scoring another. I was scoring what I was seeing, not what I was hearing.
Fully, absolutely.
But then again, I was not a ringside guy. Remember, I'm 35 rows back for this fight.
Media area.
Yeah, media section they sat us in, and because of the person I had doing, for the ESPN, they just happened to have us back that far. And I'm gonna talk to my guys. If they want me to score, I got to be up close because you got the judges up close, and I want to try to call it as the best I can for the integrity of the sport. I love boxing. I want to make sure that we call it the way we see it, because us as analysts or journalists, we try to be,
absolutely,
I try to be neutral. I don't want to go either way.
As a media member, you're supposed to be.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
The way it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but then at the end, we say what we feel at the end. But going into it, I really felt that Triple G, my opinion was that he's going to be more superior.
And like I said, the first time I watched it through, I thought he did enough to win the fight. I genuinely did. Second time I watched it through, I had it a draw. This was a very close fight. This was not a robbery. I've heard that word a lot, and that's one thing that I really want to clear up. This was not a robbery. This was not 118-110. This was 115-113, and you could call it 7-5 either way. Neither one of these guys won 8 rounds. Not even close. This was a very competitive, very fun, very engaging boxing match that I could not have been more excited or more proud to cover. I'm as long as we've been doing this, it's been over a year now. This is by far the best fight the most hyped, most anticipated matchup that we've had the opportunity to cover. And a great card start to finish, from seeing Jaime Munguia's star born to seeing Chocolatito's match still have a little bit of fire in it. I got to tell you, I couldn't have been more excited, and I'm still pretty excited, honestly, if you can't tell.
Yeah, no question about it. I think that boxing is definitely on the way up, and we got some other fights coming before the end of the year, man.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we do. But this next week we have Anthony Joshua. We have the heavyweight champion of the world, and we haven't even talked about it because of how big this fight was. It's how exciting it is. And according to most reports, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder are going to be finally announcing their fight because they want to steal a little bit of thunder from that in that Anthony Joshua lead up. However, speaking of stealing of thunder, I got to give another shout out to an old fighter here, Floyd Mayweather. Was the head of the headlines on Saturday morning, coming out talking about a Pacquiao rematch. He's been under De La Hoya's skin forever. He loves doing this. It's something they've gone back and forth and doing back for a long time. I thought that's all it was. He dominated the headlines. It's the funniest thing because it's just what he does. He can take over a whole 2 years worth of promotion with one tweet, and he did. And I thought that's all it was. I thought it was all a troll job. And now we hear that Pacquiao said they're going to be announcing this week.
Yeah.
Pacquiao said they're going to be announcing this week. They're going to be coming out fighting, I think, December 1st, which is crazy. I thought I didn't think this was ever going to happen, and should happen. But how funny that's how it went down, and now both sides are saying this is gonna go down. That might end up being the biggest fight of the year.
It may be a Merry Christmas after all for both fighters.
Should be. Let them fight each other. That's what they get for not fighting in their prime. They should have to, not figuring it out before they get old. They should have to fight every year till they're your age.
Well, before you know, you're gonna hear Roberto Duran wants to fight Sugar Ray Leonard again.
I'd watch that.
Or Chavez fighting Oscar De La Hoya again.
I would see that. That's
come on, fans. Come on, hey, Mayweather and Pacquiao do it. They bring Oscar and Julio back
Send
together.
Out all your, tell us who you want to see. All the old guys. I saw you with Fernando Vargas and De La Hoya this weekend.
Yeah.
Let's get them back in there. They both look heavyweight now.
Hey, they just celebrated the 16th anniversary.
That was a great fight.
That
was that one, right?
Yeah, it was that.
We got a poster over here.
Bad blood, man. And it's unbelievable how these two guys You know, they chummy up with each other right now.
Oh, yeah.
They go, but then again, that's what boxing is. You fight, you knock yourselves out, and then you're the best of friends later on in life.
It was refreshing seeing Triple G and Canelo give each other love afterwards because, you know, like we talk about, I mean, I genuinely think there was bad blood there. I don't think that was theatrics, and I don't just mean what was in Canelo's veins. I mean genuine bad blood. And I got to tell you, I really felt like they didn't like each other. I really felt like going into it there was some issues, like they really wanted to punish each other. And at the end of it, when you've given that, when you've done that, when you really put everything into fighting somebody, into hurting somebody, and they've done the same for you, to have a mutual respect at the end of it is a beautiful thing, and that's one thing that makes this sport so beautiful. I really teared up watching them hug at the end, and I would do it again. I mean, they were really just, I love seeing that mutual respect at the end of fights. When we interviewed Mickey Ward not too long ago, and he was able to and he got choked up talking about, you know, his famous fights with Gotti and the relationship they had, and talking about some of the controversy surrounding his murder. That's probably my favorite interview we've done on this show. If you want to go back in the archives and check that out, I recommend it. And it's great to see mutual respect, especially when things have gotten contentious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Now, I'll tell you, boxing is really getting back. I mean, we're getting the Joshua Wilder fight, the fight the fans want to see.
Yeah, I mean, that one and Triple G Canelo are the two biggest draws. And that's one thing I'm saying. I think it's still the biggest draw. Here's the deal. At the end of this, I love it. And I'm so happy for Canelo. And he gained a fan, and now I'm a fan of both. And I'm so excited. But at the same time, I didn't feel like there was as much closure as I wanted there to be. Maybe these guys are just perfectly evenly matched, and one will edge the other for the next, you know, for all three fights. And they might go down as all-time greats who are defined by their all-time great trilogy against each other. And I would pay to watch it again. I'll tell you that much right now.
Absolutely. There's so many fights. Mikey Garcia, man, and the welterweight division.
Oh, babe.
You
the
know?
whole welterweight division is swimming with sharks. We got all kinds of fights. I mean, like you said, this whole year, I mean, we got finishing up with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, two undefeated heavyweights who have both been champions at one time and absolute monsters, and Floyd Mayweather Pacquiao apparently.
Yeah, you first got to tell me, who do you like for to fight this year? I mean, who you want to see for the next big fight before the year ends? And also, is this year better than last year, 2017, or is 2019 going to be better than 2018?
I think 2019 is all set up. I think the welterweight division is finally going to pop. We've been watching it get ready. We saw the first domino fall with that Sean Porter-Danny Garcia fight last weekend, and I think it's about to really pop. And I think the heavyweight division is finally going to see the one fight that we've been wanting to see. And I think we'll get personally, I think we're going to get the final installation of the Triple G Canelo fight. I think Terrence Crawford is going to start fighting better competition. Lomachenko is going to have to start fighting better competition. I think all the guys at the top, all the stars that we've seen rise, are finally going to explode.
Yeah. You know, I think we're going to go into extra time today because I want to make this show a little bit longer because I know there's so many fans out there probably want to ask some questions about this past week's fight this weekend. Charlie, our director here, coordinator, engineer, do we have any questions for the fans out there today?
And what's the future for Chocolatito?
That's an excellent question.
Okay, the future for Chocolatito, he looks good, and it looks like he was having a problem with his weight, trying to make weight.
Yeah, he
115, because I was there at the weigh-in, and I was behind the curtains back there, and they were waiting for him to come back off the scale, but he came off the scale, man. He had a big load of spaghettis and meatballs.
Oh, right afterwards?
Right after he was chopping out that. I said, whoa, man. I said, wow. I said to myself, this guy was trying to make the weight. He had trouble making 105 pounds when he got stopped by Rubenside last year. And I think that's the problem. He's had trouble making weight. He's not that short, you know. He got to be about 5'6", maybe.
Really? At that weight? That's amazing.
Yeah, he looked a little taller than what I thought. And I said, you know, this kid could probably end up being a featherweight with no problem. And he's having trouble making 115. Maybe he should consider. He has the skills. He got the punching power. He's smart in the ring. So I think, you know, what's going to happen to him?
I think he should fight Nietes next. I think he's clearly lost a step. I don't think he's the same Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, who was the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world before Rungvisai took whatever it was that made him extra special out of him. But I think he's still got it. He's never going to have that big draw power. Those lower weight classes usually don't. But he's still a fighter that I'd like to see on any undercard. He's going to make any undercard more interesting, and I'd pay to watch him most nights. I mean, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he's got the skills. I watched him, you know, and Saturday night, and he's really had what it takes.
He's been doing it forever, man. The guy's just great.
He's smart.
Really
He's a good, smart fighter. The only great fighter coming out of, besides Chocolatito, is Alexis Arguello from Nicaragua.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but you can't compare nobody to Nicaragua.
No, but
to Alexis.
Chocolatito's a great fighter. But no, I agree. One thing what do you got to say about Joshua Povetkin this weekend?
Well, Joshua.
I mean, we got a heavyweight championship fight. We got 3 belts on the line.
Yeah, Joshua's got to be careful because Povetkin is not a pushover.
Oh, no.
And a lot of fighters out there, even Lennox Lewis, saying don't underestimate Povetkin because he can punch.
My God, yes.
Yeah?
He can really punch.
And he's no slouch. So I just hope that things work out good.
Yeah, look, Anthony Joshua is he's faster. He's probably stronger. He's way more fundamental. He's a better fighter all around. No one's going to try and say he's not, but it's still the heavyweight division. Don't get caught once. Don't look one way when you need to look the other way. Don't put your guard down for 1 second because this is a type of division where one punch can end a career. I mean, that's just the way it is. Yeah. So you have to take people seriously, especially someone with the punching power of Povetkin. We saw what almost happened with Luis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder. I mean, this is how it goes. When you let a fight marinate too long, it's like letting a chicken marinate too long. Sometimes you got to throw it away. And hopefully that doesn't happen here. Hopefully we get what we want. Hopefully Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder is an excellent, entertaining fight where Deontay Wilder comes out ahead and so does Anthony Joshua this weekend. And at the end of the day, at the end of next year, we have the heavyweight matchup the world's been wanting to see. And we have a resurgence to that division. I mean, this is it. They've let it marinate, and I'm glad they did. I understand why they did, but there's only so much waiting around you can really do. And this is the final step, hopefully, in waiting for this to really happen. And I expect to see maybe April 19th next year, or that's the date that they've saved already at Wembley. Hopefully we'll see that be the final installment or the first of the installments in the Joshua Wilder saga.
Exactly. I think that is going to be so interesting. Talking about the up-and-coming fights, what do you see for 2019? You fans out there, if you have any questions of the future.
Give us your dream fights.
Yeah, give me your dream fights for the future.
The Garcia Lomas, even the impossible ones like that.
Yeah. Some of the experts out there, we're waiting. Our engineer Charlie's waiting to get some comments from you guys. And
I think, I don't think we'll see Spence Crawford, but I do think we'll see more dominoes fall. I think we'll see Spence fight one of the winners of that other one. I think we'll see Keith Thurman with a tune-up fight, and then possibly, I mean, look, we got some big dogs. We got a Mount Rushmore. We got 4 title holders in the toughest division in the sport. They're going to have to start fighting each other. Well, that's just the way it is.
I think Sean Porter is looking to fight any one of these guys. You have a question there from one of our... Sean Porter. Okay, Pete asked about Sean Porter. Well, Sean Porter is just gained a welterweight WBC championship. And Sean Porter is willing to fight anybody out there.
Yes.
But I'm sure it's a business now, so they have to play their cards right because if you lose a fight at the middle of this hotbed of welterweights, you want to keep winning, so you want to try to get everybody bumped up, get the 2 best guys in the welterweight division, fight each other sometime, either next year or the year after. But yeah. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made in the welterweight division.
We talk about the welterweight division a lot. You know why? Because there's the 2 main guys right now. We got Crawford and Spence. But then we got 2 other guys who also have belts and have a legitimate argument for being the best welterweight in the world, and that's Sean Porter and Keith Thurman. Below that, you have Jesse Vargas, Adrian Broner, you have Danny Garcia, you have Mikey Garcia talking about going up to that division. You got Jeff Horn, you have Manny Pacquiao still. You have Floyd Mayweather apparently. You have all these guys who are in this division, Amir Khan, Kell Brook, all these guys that are still doing it, still talking, and you have all these chips that need to start falling. If we've been calling it the best division in the sport since we started doing this, and until they start making the best fights in the sport, it's kind of hard to keep saying that. I think we're going to see that in 2019. I think that's where we're at, and finally the dominoes are going to start to fall. We're going to start to see what we've all been asking for, what we've all been waiting for. And I mean, I'll tell you, when it comes to Sean Porter, to answer the fan's question, we have like all those guys that I just named. I think Sean Porter can beat every single one of them except for, I don't think he can beat Crawford or Spence, but he would fight him and has a chance against any of them. And we saw what he did against Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman was the man in the division at that time. So, I mean, I think anything's on the table at this point, and I cannot wait to see those chips start falling and those guys finally start swinging on each other.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of these fighters now are also looking up at the higher weight division, like 154-pounders here. They're looking to fight, you know, either...
Yeah.
Now Canelo Alvarez.
154 pounders is now a pretty tough division.
Yeah. So now they look at the guys looking to go up to 160 as well. Don't forget you got the ex-champions out there.
Oh, yeah.
From 160-pounders that.
On 160's got Billy Joe Saunders.
Saunders.
It has Danny Jacobs. It has Jermall Charlo. It has Canelo Alvarez. It has Gennadievich Golovkin. It has it's got a ton of talent in it as well, man.
Yeah. So we can't just skip over some divisions, knowing that there's so much more going on. But the middleweight, welterweight division has always been like the two back for the golden era.
And the heavyweight division.
Yeah,
of course.
and the
Those
heavyweight.
are the three big ones.
Yeah, but now you don't forget you got the bantamweights. You
got a Munguia in bantamweight.
Yeah, Leo Santa Cruz.
Benavidez, you got a ton of you got a lot of really good fighters out there right now who we're learning their names. I've said this, I think I said it on our first show ever. When we were answering the question, is boxing dead? And I think boxing is like Saturday Night Live. It's a comparison I've made a couple times. And they've been on the cover of Time Magazine, Saturday Night Dead. They've declared it a done show. And at the end of the day, we don't know who our stars are when the new cast comes out. Now we're getting to know who our stars are in boxing, and now we're going to see what they can do.
Exactly. One of the things a lot of fans are coming up to me lately, especially Saturday night, the fights, and Friday night during the weigh-in. A couple of people say, Joe, how do you become a referee or a judge? And I've been talking about it recently. I want to start my Faber Firm Boxing School Academy. It's a Faber Firm Boxing Academy, and I think that next year I want to start with you guys. Send in some info. What you guys want to be part of? You have to be a referee or a judge. You can just be a beginner. How do you start? I want to start a convention once a year here in Las Vegas. Have you guys come in, amateurs and professionals. Professional, of course, get a refresher courses. And the amateurs, you want to go into the amateurs, we show you how to get into the amateur rank, teach you how to work the amateur fights, judging and refereeing. And then from there, hopefully you can work your way through become a professional. But there's also opportunities for ringside inspectors. You even have doctors that want to learn about their duties as ring doctors. There's so much I want to create. And I think that with my resume, what I've done already in the past, everybody's saying, Joe, everybody knows you around the world. Why don't you create a school with the Faber Firm? And you know what? I really think I'm going to do that because I want to keep the fans involved, not only to watch a fight, but I want you to learn what goes on behind the scenes. Some of you may want to be judges, referees, be like Kenny Bayless, or be like Benji Estevez, be referee and judges like Dave Moretti and Glenn Feldman and Steve Weisfeld. You got so many good judges out there, Raul Cai Sr., and you got so many great Javi Doc and Ricky Gonzalez judges and referees in New York. They're good all over, but you guys want to get in the group and join us as a team. Maybe we start a membership with the Faber Firm boxing show, or with the Faber Firm Academy. Get you guys part of it. Before you know it, we'll have a hotbed of boxing fans coming not only for the big fight, but while you're here, we can do the seminars that same weekend. And before you know it, you guys will be saying, Joe, where do I get my license? Well, you got to work that out. I can't help you with that. I can get you trained to get into the amateurs, and hopefully from there on, you graduate into the pros. But we even have amateurs, judges and referees, males and females. So not only for males, there's a lot of female judges and referees in boxing as well, especially in the amateurs. It's a start, and from there you graduate. Somebody, Robert Hoyle, one of our judges, top judges, he was an inspector years back. Kenny Bayless was a ringside inspector for the Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler fight. So it goes to show that if you like it, you have a passion for the sport, you give it all you got. Before you know it, you work your way up, you become a household name, hopefully. So I think that it's a good opportunity to join. We're going to start a membership with the Faber Firm LLC. Once we get that going, make you guys members, then we start with the conventions. And I think we're going to be doing it next year. Almost sure we're going to start with our next. Even if we start small, eventually we're going to make this into like the hotbed of judges and referees to come and learn here in Las Vegas at the Faber Firm Academy. So Faber Firm Boxing Academy.
There you go. I think it's a good idea.
Judges and referees.
We've seen the effect that bad judges, or bad judging can have on a fight, and we've seen the effect that good judging can have on a fight. And I think that's an excellent idea, and I think it's only going to go to benefit the sport. We've seen what these types of seminars can do to help grow the sport in places like the UK and all over the world where boxing has completely exploded. So I think it's always a good, even in the mecca of boxing, to continue the skills and keep building it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Even this past just before the big fight here in Vegas, the Battle State Athletic Commission gives several seminars throughout the year, and they had one recently for the judges and the referees, which is good. Keep everybody, prepared. It's like anything in any other sport. You got to warm up. Baseball, football, basketball. You warm up before the fight. That's what Nevada's doing here, and I'd like to see more commissions around the world to do the same. Train your officials. Don't only call them in for the fight. In between, you got to keep them abreast of what's going on. Keep them up to date, making sure that they perform correctly. Because we don't want to see bad officials. It gives a bad black eye for boxing. Anyway, John, we have nothing else more to talk about today. There's one more question for one of our fans.
What do you guys see for 2018?
2019. 2019, we see a lot of good things. If it's like 2017, 2018, 2019, we see the heavyweight division exploding, the middleweight division, the welterweight division, and the lighter weight classes as well. There's a lot happening for 2009. And don't forget, Bob Arum signed a deal with ESPN for 7 years.
54 fights a year.
54 fights a year.
We saw the other deal that PBC signed with Fox. We saw the Showtime deal that just went off. We saw the Matchroom Sports deal with DAZN. I mean, boxing is more accessible than ever. Boxing media is more accessible than ever. Yeah. And I think we had what was called a super fight this weekend. We're going to have more super fights lined up, I think, by next year, a lot more of them. This was the reason why I love doing the show is when we can really talk about something like a super fight in the aftermath of it. I love recapping this. I look forward to recapping a lot more of these in the future.
Okay, we're gonna bring in. We're gonna have a Romeo, who's the fighter that we said we want to talk about a little bit about. Just a quick recap of the fight Saturday night. We had Romeo on our show last week, and he was able to tell us a little bit about the how he felt the outcome of the fight was going to be, and I think that Romeo is going to give us a little insight of what he felt was a good thing that happened in boxing, and we're just trying to get him in. He'll be in with us here in a second now. And you fans out there, remember, boxing, like you said, the question of 2019 is going to be a good year for boxing. And I feel that you fans really got your money's worth this year. But with all these fights coming up, all these fighters that are out there, we have to try to do the best we can to make sure we watch them all, because so many fans out there, sometimes they're complaining about the decision of the fights, and I want you guys to learn a little bit what goes on behind the scene, how the judges and referees, score the fights and the referees' duties. So I think it's so important that we tune in every week, especially on Mondays when we have guests that come on and we talk. And John, of course, with his expert opinion, was able to give you guys of what his take is on boxing. So I think that bringing out Romeo will be right with us in a second. And if you fans have any questions, please don't hesitate to call in now, because I'm going on some extra time today because of what happened this past weekend. But we have with us Romeo.
How you doing, Mr.
Hi, Romeo. How you doing, buddy?
How you doing?
Good. I'm glad you were able to make it here. I hear you got stuck in traffic, but you made it.
Yes,
I'm glad you did. And Romeo, what was your take on the fight Saturday night?
Saturday night, it was a good fight. I give props to both fighters, Golovkin and Canelo. But Canelo pressed the action. He did what he did in the first fight, but he just pushed Golovkin back, using his jab more, working the body effectively, and that seemed to slow Golovkin down perfectly, and the game plan worked.
Yeah, a lot of the fans out there, Romeo, felt that it was a fight that they felt that Triple G won the fight, and I said to myself, well, I don't know what they were watching. I know they love Triple G and everything. It was good, but I mean, I personally felt that Triple G tried to do something positive, but he didn't have it like he did last year. Like I said to the fans before, he was either too slow. Is it because the age was catching up on him? or is it because of Canelo got more experience and he had to change? He went back to the drawing board and got himself back into the picture. And Canelo fought a lot better. He was more aggressive, better combination, and I couldn't believe that he was putting the pressure most of the fight.
Right. I felt with the first fight, if he was able to neutralize Golovkin the first fight, why not get a little faith in Canelo and probably win the second fight? That's why I believe in Canelo, because if he was able to do something that other fighters couldn't do, he can possibly defeat Golovkin. That's what he did, and he worked real hard in his camp. He looked more faster, slimmer, and his jab was more effective too. And Golovkin, he was using his jab more than he was throwing the right hand, and that was a hard time for Canelo also.
Right. I feel that boxing is really the middleweight division really starting to develop, and I mean there's a lot of good fighters there. And of course, the welterweight division is always back in the old days. You get some of the welterweight champions. They beat everybody in their division, and they want to step up and go. There was no in between. There was no 154, no super welterweight or junior middleweight. They was either 147 or go right into 160. And some of the even 175 light heavyweight would fight for the heavyweight championship, like Bob Foster did it against Joe Frazier and Ali. Guys would jump. There were only 12 divisions, but now they got so many divisions in between. But how do you see the future of the welterweight and the middleweight division?
Welterweight and middleweight, they're both excellent weight classes. They have a lot of champions there at both weight classes, and I hope to see Canelo and Charlo. Right now, those are two headliners right now.
Right.
So I'll say the middleweight is getting back to where it was back in the old days.
Right. I know we're gonna get John back on the show here in a second. So I want to, before we get John back on, I want to ask you, what's happening with your career in boxing? I know we know you're 17 years of age.
Yes, sir.
And you're a lightweight. But tell me, what's your next fight? What's going on with you?
My next fight is October 5th in Tijuana. Currently, I'm training, working real hard. Later on today, I'm going to go to the Mount Charleston and put the miles in. Later on,
you're gonna go running.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And high elevation. That's what's going to boost my stamina level. Right.
Well, that's what we all need that in boxing. We all have to stay in good shape. And you're a young fighter. Only 17 years of age with one pro fight, but we're going to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for your opinion on the fight today. Fans out there, we have, like I said before, Romeo Acosta, young up-and-coming lightweight out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, thank you so much again.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
We'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Fans, we're going to come back on with John Zimmer to talk a little bit and wrap up a little bit of the recap of the fight Saturday night. And, of course, you fans know that boxing is really a great sport. There's so much happening, and here in Las Vegas, the boxing capital of the world, but we have also the Golden Knights, of which I went to last night to watch. They played against the Arizona Coyote, and they won 7-2. And of course, I had Benji Estevez, the referee, who refereed the main event Saturday night with Triple G and Canelo. He was with me. I took him to the hockey game yesterday, and it was then we got the Raiders coming in 2020. They're coming into a new arena that's being built as we speak right now. So this is going to be a hotbed of all sports. What do you think, John?
It's got it all, baby. We got a WNBA team and a soccer team already. They came last year. I mean, there's no time in the city right now that you can't see live sports, and that's amazing.
Exactly.
It's never happened before. We got the Las Vegas ballpark coming next year for the 51s games, and that's going to be in downtown Summerlin. We got, this city is really exploding. By next year, like I said, it'll be a 24-hour sports town. I mean, what more could you even ask for, man?
Yeah.
It's entertainment capital of the world. We got the best combination of dining, of entertainment, of shopping, and of nightlife of any other town in the world. And now we added sports to it. So, and we've always had boxing, baby. So you tell me.
And the best boxing talk show.
Yeah, and the best boxing talk show on the planet.
Hey, guys, we're going to talk to you next week. Take care. God bless. Remember, I'm fair but I'm firm. Keep your guards up at all times. Touch him up, buddy. Fair but firm.